Hey guys, this is MC Mickey, and today I have a very special unboxing video for you. Um, this is the bag that has been sold out in stores across the US, Europe, Japan, China, Asia, in the online inventory of these countries as well. It's basically been sold out globally over the past several years at least, and I have it here. I want to talk about how I was able to get my hands on the Louis Vuitton Pochette Metis crossbody handbag, and talk a little bit about the product, what I think about it, the pros and cons, a little bit about the history of the bag too, because I think the history is really interesting, and finally offer some potential alternatives to this really kind of great all around bag. So without any further delay, here it is in the iconic orange LV box, and inside is the bag. Comes in a nice little dust bag, and then here it is. This is the Pochette Metis. You can see the monogram kind of pattern, gold hardware, and then some natural leather highlights, and got a little zipper in the back. But before I get too far into the product, maybe I'll just talk a little bit about how I was able to get my hands on one of these, and hopefully this will be helpful when in your search for this. So I purchased this one at the Fifth Avenue store in New York, and actually that was not the first store I was intending to go to. I initially called up the Brookfield store in the financial in downtown New York, and they're one of the few stores in which you can actually still call up and have someone from the store directly pick up the phone and talk to you and tell you if there's inventory or not. So I found that many other LV stores, you can't talk to an actual store associate because they reroute you to kind of a central customer service line. And if you want to actually reach out to the store directly or figure out if the store has any inventory, you either have to go there or call up this central customer service line and have them reach out to the store and ask the store to call you back when some sales associate has a spare moment. And that approach is obviously pretty inefficient, and you don't always get the call back, and so it can be very difficult to track in an easy manner whether or not a store has this item in stock or not. And the other problem is, once you know that the store has the item in stock, it can get sold very quickly within 30 minutes or an hour of learning that news. So anyways, I called up the Brookfield store, and this was at the end of March 2019, and they told me that they actually got a shipment of 2 of these that morning. So these stores will sometimes randomly get shipments. They can't predict the cadence of the shipments, so some days they might not have any, and then other days they might have 1. This time that Brookfield store got 2, and they told me that they sold both of them that morning. So they didn't have any more left, but the sales associate there, her name was Anna, was really nice. She took down my information and texted me and said that she would get in contact with me when another one comes in. I was actually moving from New York to Los Angeles the next day, so I really needed to get my hands on one of these within that day. And so I asked Anna, the sales associate I was actually able to talk to, do any other stores in New York have this? And so she said that the Fifth Avenue store was showing that they had 4 that morning. They sold 2, and they still had 2 left. So I thanked her for that information. I hung up, and I immediately tried to call the Fifth Avenue store, but as I mentioned earlier, you can't get a hold of the store directly. They don't take calls. So I told the customer service person that I was connected to that, hey, I really want this bag. Can you transfer me to the Fifth Avenue store? They said no, but the Fifth Avenue store can potentially call you back. They'll put in a callback request, and that callback actually never came. But the point is that I couldn't place one of these on hold. So what I did, knowing, and the customer service agent confirmed that the Fifth Avenue store had 2 more of these left. Okay, so I immediately ran to the subway, and it was about a 30-minute commute from where I was to the Fifth Avenue store. And so I ran to the subway, and then I hopped on the next train directly to the store. And he got to the store, 30 minutes later after that call to customer service confirming that, they had 2 of these at the Fifth Avenue store. And luckily I was, helped out right away. And the sales associate, and I see this bag, the Pochette Metis, actually on display. That never happens in LV stores. If you've been trying to search for this bag, for any amount of time, you'll know that these either get allocated to people on the waiting list. And by the way, I think LV stores have stopped taking people on the waiting list because that list has grown to be hundreds, if not thousands of clients, and that list was 4 to 6 months of wait time before you could expect to receive this bag. So I think many stores have just done away with that concept and are working through kind of their waiting list backlogs. And I think how it's getting allocated now is the stores that get it, it's on a first come first serve basis. So that's the kind of story with why the Fifth Avenue store had these in stock on that day. They just happened to get a shipment of 4 of these. They already sold 2 of these first thing in the morning. And when I went there, they had this one on display, and I immediately asked the sales lady, is that available? How many of these do you have? And she said, that's the last one they have. They literally just sold the other one that I was talking about within that 30-minute time frame of when I learned that they had 2 left and left my place and went to the store. And so I took a look at this, and I immediately said, yeah, I'll take it after examining the product. And as I was looking at the product, the lady next to me, who was being helped by a different sales associate, asked, hey, do you have any more of these Pochette Metis? She was literally 1 or 2 minutes after me. So I go in, running from the subway station and trying to make sure that I get my hands on the last 1 or 2 of these that the Fifth Avenue store has. And this lady comes in 2 minutes later, and she asked for the exact same bag. And so if I was literally 1 or 2 minutes later, this bag would not be in my hands right now. I just say that just to give a sense of the element of luck that's involved with sourcing these bags, but to also kind of show that it is possible to get. If you have your sights set on this bag, and you see it, you should certainly pounce on it. But anyways, that's kind of the quick story of how I was able to get the bag. The one thing I want to mention is I got extremely lucky because not only is this the monogram design, but also this is a made in France version. So if you look inside here, let me see if I can show you that leather piece. It says made in France. Now that is another level of difficulty in terms of obtaining these days. I think the Brookfield store said they get just 1 made in France every 2 to 3 months. most of these are made in the US. I think that some may be made in Italy and Spain. Now, don't quote me on that because, I haven't personally seen them, but from talking to different sales associates and people who've worked at or work at Louis Vuitton, that's kind of what they say. Most of the Pochette Metis that are available in the US are actually made in the States. Same craftsmanship and materials is what they say. But obviously, if I had a choice, I'd want one made in France. And again, you can't choose that. It's just by luck. Going back to that sales associate from Brookfield who actually took down my contact information. A few days later, she actually texted me and said that she had one of these in stock. So I obviously already purchased this one, and I moved out of the city. So I told her, thanks for letting me know, but I'll pass this time. And but I think what I wanted to illustrate with that is once you have a personal relationship or a textual relationship with a sales associate, they can give you the early looks. And they can tell you when certain items of stock come in. And you don't even have to have met that person. You just need to be very friendly on the phone, let them know exactly kind of what you're looking for. And a lot of times they'll exchange contact information with you. They'll ask for your information and send you a text. And when the item comes in, even though there's no technical kind of waiting list, you still might be able to be on a first call list from these salespeople. So that's probably the number one piece of advice I have is if you want to get one of these bags, if you don't want to be going to the LV store every day, first thing in the morning to try and see if they've gotten a shipment that day, befriend or at least get into a textual relationship with someone from the store and let them know that you really want this bag, and for them to let you know when they get it in stock, and you'll pay for it right away over the phone and come in and get it that same day. That's probably the best piece of advice I have for you, because I was actually able to get another one of these pretty recently. This was for my sister. And using that same approach. Remember I said Anna reached out to me a few days after I got this at the end of March. Now it's May, close to the end of May. And, I just reached out to her and I'm like, hey, can you let me know if you have any of these in stock? And she said she didn't have any on that day, but, a couple days later, she sent me a text saying we have one of these. And so I was able to actually secure another one, just through that relationship. Okay, so I think that's, and actually online is another approach. Online, what you'll notice is that sometimes it'll say that it's out of stock. So let me just show you, pull it up real quick on my phone. So I have the Pochette Metis pulled up online, okay? Now, let me see if I can make this clear. Okay, now this actually says, call for availability, okay? Sometimes it'll just say out of stock. And if it's out of stock, then it's just out of stock. But when it says call for availability, what you do is you actually call the people online. And, if they have it, you better act real quick and say you want it right away. Because literally in a matter of minutes, it can go from being available to being unavailable. And that's actually what happened is I was trying to source, the second Pochette Metis for my sister. I called up the online store. They said they had one left. And so I was like, okay, I actually put the person on hold and just called up my sister to see if she actually, really wanted it. And within that kind of 5-minute time frame, I go back to the LV sales associate, the customer service associate online. And she said it got sold. So it's just that quick. Snap, and it's gone. So, those are a few different ideas for how you can potentially source this. I definitely think that, you know, getting into a relationship with a sales associate is the top choice if possible. And then, you know, keep on checking the online inventory, calling them up, you know, once in a while, and, you know, if you see that they have it, just kind of pounce on it. So that's a little bit about this, the process that I took in purchasing this, and I think I want to talk a little bit about the history of this bag, because it's just so interesting to me how this bag came about to be what it is today. This was actually released the Pochette Metis was released in December 2012. Okay, so that's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's six and a half years ago, almost, to today. But it really started gaining in popularity, I think, probably 2016, you know, or so a few years ago. And it just kind of blows my mind how it went from being widely available when it first came out to now being completely unavailable. And I think that speaks to the power of social media and the Instagrammers. I think, you know, people have realized that this is literally a bag that's the perfect size for travel, you know, everyday use. It's crossbody, so that many of the more formal bags, you don't have that crossbody flexibility. And, you know, you can wear this without a strap as well, just through the handlebar, and that just allows this to be kind of dressed up. So the versatility of the bag, and, you know, coupled with people on Instagram kind of realizing, waking up to the fact that you know, this bag is just really, really you know, perfect for everyday use situations. And obviously you've seen the rise of the influencer and yeah, social media platforms over the past few years as well. All of that created a perfect storm to bring, you know, a bag that was, yeah, I wouldn't say relative obscurity, but, you know, certainly not as ubiquitous as it is now, to now being, you know, kind of everywhere, but also extremely difficult to obtain. So that's kind of the history of the bag. You know, if you look on YouTube, Instagram, you see all these influencers. They all have this bag, and I think that's one of the cons that commonly get mentioned with this bag, is that just everyone has it. But yeah, to me, everyone has it for a good reason. This is probably one of the most versatile and usable kind of everyday bags that I've come across. It's a perfect size factor. This is, I think, 10 inches wide by kind of 7.5 inches tall. It is, you know, extremely secure, I think. This clasp is very easy to use. So all you have to do on this clasp is to kind of push it there, you know, and then this will, oops. Okay. Oh, it's already released. And then inside, you see the monogram pattern kind of continues, okay? There's several compartments. It looks like there's only 2 compartments, but there's actually 3, okay? The third compartment is behind there. So it's a flat compartment. You can put your passport, you know, bills, money, cards, or whatever that you just don't want, you want to keep a little bit extra secure, kind of in the back there. 2 really good size divider pockets here. Okay, this is a beautiful kind of brown, I don't know if it's actually real, I don't think it's real suede, but I think it's a brown dark brown microfiber lining. Okay, and this brown, people like the dark lining because it's less easy to get dirty. So if you have makeup, lipstick in here, you know, or, you know, whatever else, and you know, a little bit gets on the inside of the bag, this brown kind of covers up those stains much better than if it was a lighter color. As I said, this bag comes with a shoulder strap, and this strap kind of continues that monogram pattern. It has 5 holes, okay? So you could really adjust this so that it can be shorter if you want to just put it on a single shoulder, or it can be longer so you can wear this crossbody, which I think a lot of people when they're traveling really, really like. Sometimes it's just so much easier to carry this crossbody. You know, it's more secure, it's less likely to fall off, and it just adds to the flexibility of this bag. And I think another really good feature of the bag is how easy it is to attach this shoulder strap to the actual bag. So all you have to do here is, you know, there's a hook here, and this buckle, it literally you just kind of clasp it to that like that, and it's attached. So it's a very kind of seamless and quick detachment process, which, you know, in my understanding, some bags are not so simple to have, you know, remove or attach the shoulder strap. Now obviously one of the cons is that this, you know, if you do that too often or even through just normal use, the finishing of this material may scratch or may kind of fade a little bit over time. But, you know, that's just normal wear and tear. These can both be replaced at a cost, obviously. But, you know, this shoulder strap is just so easy to put on. And there's a zipper pocket in the back, okay? And this zipper pocket is you know, something else you can put in passports. It's lined as well in the suede, or just something small that you want to keep kind of secure but very easy access to. You know, it's kind of perfect for that. Nothing's gonna fall out of this bag. I think that's kind of what people like about this bag. I think with something like the Neverfull, you know, there's nothing closing the top. It's obviously a bigger bag, so you know, different use case. But, you know, with something like this, if you're kind of traveling on the subway, you know, no one's going to be able to stick their hand in here. It's a flap that's actually secured by a clasp, okay? So it's not like they can just, you know, take the flap off and stick their hand in there if you're at a club or something and you have your phone inside. This is just overall a relatively secure bag, you know, coupled with the zipper in the back. So, you know, it's really good for travel. It's durable. This canvas material, some people think it's leather. This is not leather. This is a coated canvas, okay, but it does have the leather highlights, okay, on the handle and on the strap connector area, okay. What I really like about these leather highlights is if you look closely, so this is edge finishing. This edge finishing is actually very hard to do. They need to take the craftsmanship is they take like a paint, a small little you know, foam piece, and they finish this by hand using the red paint. And I think it just really, this is a burgundy finishing, and I think it just really adds kind of a level of sophistication and a little bit of color there, okay? But that's just, yeah, something to watch out for, this edge finishing. And obviously these handles are pure natural leather. The handles are a little bit more white right now. You can see they're, you know, this obviously being a relatively new bag. This is what natural leather looks like when you first get it. And this is one of the cons that some people mention. I don't really think it's a con. I think it's actually, you know, beautiful, but this leather will darken over time. Some people say it caramelizes, some people say it's a patina, but really, you know, it basically changes character over time and develops a really nice kind of look to me, more vintage, antique look in a really good way. So some people just don't like that. They want this bag to look new, you know, just like it did now, you know, with the leather being really white, new. So if you're like that and you don't like this you know, the leather changing and aging over time, that's fine too, because you can get this replaced. Louis Vuitton will, I actually got some cost figures here for you. You can actually get all this hardware replaced. The handle, to replace the handle and these leather pieces is $240. To replace this clasp, I think that's another thing. With use, and these are none of the, I don't even consider these cons, because this is just, when you use something, it's going to show wear and tear, right? This clasp, because of just how it is, the hole is, I wouldn't say it's small, but it kind of just fits this mechanism. Sometimes if people are trying to close it one-handed or without looking at it, they may use this piece may hit other parts of the clasp and cause some scratches. Okay, this clasp you can replace for 120 bucks. Okay, so that's, you know, that's just something to be aware of. You know, in the future, if you need this this item, you know, kind of refinished or refurbished, or it just kind of you know, renewed, you can certainly do that. Another thing I forgot to mention is this the stitching here. You see, that's a yellow stitching. So I just think that's such a nice detail as well. They could have gone with something, you know, a little bit more neutral color, a little bit more kind of boring, but you know, they decided to go with kind of a beautiful yellow stitching there that I really think just adds a little bit more sophistication, color, and pop of fun, really. You know, on this topic of natural leather, just for an idea of how this might age, okay? Let me show you. This is a Neverfull that's, you know, a few years older, and you can see what I'm talking about, the brown caramelizing, okay? And patina. I really like to use the word patina because that basically describes the process of leather aging. Okay, it's not a bad thing at all. Look at the character of the strap. Okay, this, you know, there's a few marks here. You know, the color is obviously a lot more brown than how white this is, but you know, this Neverfull, this leather was as white as this Pochette Metis, you know, when it was new. And it's become a lot more supple and soft. So this is what it'll look like after, you know, a few months of use. And over the years, it'll just get even more, yeah, a little bit darker. Some people think it just looks, you know, a little bit used. Some people just like it when it's all brand new and everything. But you know, leather ages with you. Yeah, I wanted to show you this leather briefcase. This is, you know, my leather briefcase, and this was a natural kind of leather as well. It was several shades lighter than it currently is. And look at the scratches and just kind of the character on this bag. I think it just really adds to the character, and every scratch tells a story. I think, you know, not to spend too much time on this topic of, you know, leather patinaing, and you know why some people who think that, you know, when the LV leather straps turn color, that's a bad thing and it doesn't look good anymore. Yeah, every bag is unique in how it gets used, and the more you use the leather, the more you kind of hold it up and just take this through your everyday. You know, your bag will differ from someone else who uses it differently. So I think instead of that being a negative, I think that's you know, incredibly endearing and sentimental and something to be cherished. And you know, when you eventually do want to pass this bag along, or you know, sell it or whatever, you know, your bag will be a unique piece that is shown wear marks that only your bag has. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to show you is the stitching. So what I like to look for in the stitching is just a very even kind of stitch, okay, all around, and the same distance from the edge to the stitch, kind of all around. So yeah, I'll just take you through this bag. And the corners, I want to make sure the corners are smooth. You know, they're not, you know, jagged or different distance from the edge. That's all part of the craftsmanship and build quality of, you know, kind of what to look for when you're kind of examining these close up. So that stitch looks very smooth, same distance from the edge, and once you get to the corners, it's very smooth and round transition to just from the corner area. Okay, you can see it all around there. Take you full circle to the, let's focus that, to the front over there. Okay, another thing to look at is the glazing. Okay, what I mean by the glazing is this this part right here. You see that black? Let me try to get a better focus. Yeah, this black kind of material right there, and especially in these corner areas, because this is kind of the high wear areas, like right in the flap over there. And I've seen some people who've had issues with that glazing coming off. It's not supposed to come off like after 5 or 6 months. It's really not supposed to come off, but if it does, I think Louis Vuitton has been very very good with taking care of that and kind of replacing the bag or making it right. And there's different theories of why the glazing sometimes comes off. I haven't experienced it personally with this bag yet. Obviously, it looks pretty immaculate. But some think that the quality control may be a little bit not as good as when the bag first came out in 2012-13. But I personally haven't experienced it yet, but I've only heard positive things when you do point out a glazing issue and you bring it back to the store with the receipt, obviously. Something else to watch out for, I think, is the zipper. So some people look at the zipper and see if it's straight or not. Okay, so I guess this zipper looks very straight to me, but I think some people see that there's a little bit of a kind of a crookedness to the zipper attachment, and just to see how smooth the zipper opens and closes. Okay, looks fine to me. The other thing people notice is that this attachment here, if it sits straight, I think there's been cases where the resting space, this is to one side or to the other side, so it just looks a little bit asymmetric. Those are all the very little things when you're kind of fine-tooth combing the bag to try and watch out for. On this side as well. Looks like this thing sits right in the middle, so that's all good. So yeah, that's a little bit about the stitching. I think everything, production quality wise looks fine with this bag. I will say a couple notes about use. So you can see that this bag actually expands to, I think, 3.5 inches. It's probably like an inch or inch and a half kind of thinner when it's not fully expanded. A lot of times people like putting something in the front pocket just so you can have more of a firm surface when you're actually closing the flap, because you can see now, like, I really have to kind of push this flap in order to kind of close it when the front pocket is empty, and it's a little bit difficult to do. So let me just put some books in here. This gives you an idea of how these are just typical travel guide books in case you're traveling. Gives you an idea of how much can fit in this bag as well. So I'll just put these 2 books in the back case there. Here's a pair of sunglasses. Just put that in the front case there. And you can see there's still a decent amount of space left over. You could probably put like a point and shoot camera there. You can put your valuables or like a passport over here. But once I stuff the bag a little bit, it just gets a little bit easier to close that front clasp like that. See? Then you can see the bag's a little bit more expanded, has more of a shape to it. Yeah. And one thing that people like to do, you know, this is crossbody is obviously a little bit more casual and less formal. You know, if you want to dress this up a bit, you know, bring it to work or, you know, more formal event, it's very easy to do. You just take the strap off. Okay, I've shown you how easy it is for the strap to get attached, but now I'll just take it off, and you can actually just you know, one-handed kind of release mechanism there. You can just take this strap and tuck it into the bag. I'm putting this in the front pocket so it's stuffed a little bit more. Let me take out one of these books. There you go, you just tuck the strap in there. And there you have it. This bag is, you know, can be you know, carried just with the handle there, and it looks much more formal. Just as kind of iconic, fits just as much. Yeah, just without the strap. So that's a little bit about you know, the details of the bag, kind of use cases. Yeah, anything else? In terms of care, the salesperson said that the best way to store the bag is actually in the dust bag, okay? So, you know, you just put it back in the dust bag. It's actually not a good idea to leave the bag in the box because apparently moisture, if there's any moisture in there, if it's in a humid environment, you know, moisture can get trapped in the box with the bag, and that's just not very good for the bag. So it's best to just keep the bag in the dust bag, which is breathable, and in just kind of a cool, dry place where air can circulate. And that's kind of the best way to do it. It's not a bag you have to baby, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. You know, the price point, I forgot to mention the price point. This was $1,830 US for the bag, which, you know, is not inexpensive, but also not the same price as like a Chanel, where you can go, you know, 3,000, 4,000, or even higher. So, you know, it's a bag that you can really feel comfortable using as an everyday bag, and yeah, I don't think you'll need to really baby this too much. This monogram material is super resistant to scratching and wear, and you know, as I said, I think this bag, the leather accents, the more you wear this, the more yeah, the more beautiful it will become. And yeah, I think it's very durable, very versatile. The one potential con, or, you know, other negative I'll mention, is that there's no feet at the bottom of the bag. So you can see that it's just, you know, the monogram material. It stands up by itself fine. You know, I'm just putting it on the table here. But there are no metal feet. Okay, so when you're setting it down, maybe you want to just put it on a table or on a chair instead of directly on the concrete. It's just something to be aware of. So, what do you do if you can't get your hands on this bag? Are there any other alternatives? There actually is one. This is a model called the Pallas BB. Okay, and the Pallas BB was actually released created in 2017. It's a bag that's very similar to, let me just pull it up, very similar to the dimensions of this Pochette Metis, but it just is a little bit longer and a little bit shorter. It's 10.6 by 7 inches high, and this one's, you know, 9.8 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. But let me just show you this Pallas so you have an idea of you know, alternative. This one's a little bit more expensive. This one's at $23.20. It's also a very popular bag. Yeah, very good size. This one has a zipper on top, and it kind of opens up like that. You know, you got the natural leather highlights. This one also has a little bit more. This one has a little pop of color on it, you know, with the red accent. It also comes in black, which is a little bit more understated. But you know, this was a bag that, to my understanding, was created kind of in response to the Pochette Metis, because it's just been so popular. The size factor, the functionality, and just the versatility, the security. And so, you know, LV created this bag, the Pallas BB. It's apparently getting hard to get. I think there's some supply constraints there. So, you know, it's just another potential alternative if you're really looking for a bag that's kind of similar to this, but this one may not be in stock. I think that's all I wanted to cover. I hope that gives you kind of an idea of this bag, some of my thoughts on it. I don't think you can go wrong with this. The price point is right for I think the quality you're getting. It's so functional, versatile. I love the leather accents, the yellow stitching, the kind of red edge detail as I mentioned before, and just there's so many different pockets, 3 inside, you know, the zipper on the outside, kind of perfect width. It's, you know, you got the shoulder crossbody strap. You really can't say too many negative things about this bag, and everyone has it for a reason. I mean, there's a very good reason this bag became as popular as it has been over the past few years, and you know, I hope this review gives you a little bit of an idea of you know, why this bag has just, you know, grown so popular and become, you know, part of the iconic collection of LV, and I think will continue to be so. So, good luck sourcing this, and yeah, if you want to see more videos on, you know, the Neverfull, or, you know, any other bags or items, please do let me know in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe. Okay, cheers.